Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, November the 26th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell market summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. Again, if you have not been to the website yet, go check it out. A lot of informative information on the site. At the same time, if you're interested in finding out details on our education course or how you can join our prop firm, our trading group, please contact me at ccooper at wallstreettrading.com or contact us via the info button on the home upper right hand side of the home page website. So let's go ahead and get into the video today here. I have a couple of things to talk about. Of course, it is a lightened week thanks to the holiday Thanksgiving here, and volume has been pretty light, but there has been that decent upside action. Of course, you guys know when there is no volume in the markets tend to float up, and that's exactly some of the action that we had today until we did see some late selling come into the market around 3:30 or so. The ES fell all the way from a high of 1807 to a low of 1801 and a quarter or so. So we did have some profit taking going on into the Thanksgiving day as we get closer. As a lot of traders are not going to be in front of their screens tomorrow. Some people are going to be flying to their family or friends, relatives' houses. So therefore, volume probably would most likely be lighter tomorrow, and we could have these different up and down or the slow market action going into the rest of the week here, like we expect. So, anyways, let's go and take a look at the SPY. I want to touch base on some of the things that we've been discussing before. This prior resistance that we had, these little pivot highs, these trend lines we were able to connect. This little chop action that we had for the past 3 weeks before we finally broke over this 177.50 and made new all-time highs in the SPY. All right, we discussed. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. We discussed this little ABC move we had right here, then another pull back in, another move right back up. However, today, again, yesterday we had a gap up and a close down. Today we have a little doji. So a lot of indecision. Again, really can't take much of this action into consideration, being the fact that there's light volume. So I would be, watching your risk screen pretty close and making sure you're managing your risk pretty close. I would also keep an eye on this trend line that you could draw on from this low, this pivot low, and this pivot low. That trend line is going to be making this 180 level very important to watch, because if we break that little short-term uptrend, we also have this little upward channel. And as you guys know, these upward channels usually resolve to the downside. Once they hit resistance, the fact that there's no resistance right here, we have to wait and see. And right now, the market is developing some short-term resistance around this 181 level on the SPY. I would keep an eye on the 180 level, and I would keep an eye on the 181 quarter level. Taking a look at the ES, which is right here on this little small box right here, the daily chart. You can see the same thing here. Up move, pull back, up move, pull back, up move, and we're having some trouble breaking over this 1807, 1808 area, or better yet, this 1803. You can see it's acting as resistance, or last Friday's high, some a little topping tail action today. So we'll see how it plays out. One thing that I want to highlight first, I want to take a, well, let's go ahead and do the regular routine here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs, which was pretty strong today, showed relative strength along with the Russell. NASDAQ 100 was up close to 0.5%, over 0.5%. The triple Q ETF, which replicates the NASDAQ 100, was up 44 cents, closing at 84.63. A nice close. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive higher closes in the NASDAQ. And again, this thing's on fire. And the next resistance really is until like around 89, 90 bucks. We still have about $4.5 more to the top side if this train continues. And what was the catalyst, or what stocks were driving this index up? Well, just going to take a look at Google making new all-time highs. We did say that we expect that fall through action in last night's video. We got that fall through action today, and Google hit a high of 1061.5, new all-time high. Apple was up close to 2% today, closed up 1.84%, broke above that range that we were discussing yesterday, or this 530 level, and now we're pretty much just about filled that bar. We did touch the opening price of that bar from the gap up and sell off that we had from the earnings. And if we could break over today's highs, we could most likely see the high of that bar, which is 539.25. Apple definitely had some momentum in the name. And you can see the average volume, which was about 10 million shares a day here. We actually ticked up higher than average volume here for the past 1, 2, 3.5 weeks or so. So Apple's definitely going to be on a lot of traders' radar. If this thing could catch a nice bid, it could definitely help drive the Nasdaq up. Amazon, which has been a Nasdaq leader ever since it broke above this 270 area and started taking off here. Amazon new highs, nice fall through action today. Again, let's go ahead and take a look at eBay since we're looking at Amazon, these online retailer stores, holiday season. eBay week today. All right, we mentioned eBay as a stock to watch, as this thing could get some more selling pressure below 50, and it has. This little bear flag action right here broke down, fall through action today. Even though they did buy it off the 48 level, the stock still looks weak because it is trying to break down. Let me bring up a 2-year daily chart. It is trying to break down out of its big range that it's been trading in here since last November between 50 and this little 57 area. So a big range that we are now trying to hold below. eBay continues to hold below 50. I would expect the stock to start making its way down towards 46, which is prior resistance, now support, and would act as support down there around 46. Keep an eye on that name. All right, let's take a look at some other tech stocks here. Let's take a look at Priceline. This stock was up $18.81 today, very strong. Let me take a look at Sprint. I see Sprint was up pretty nice today. We saw some decent action. Yeah, Sprint up close to 5% today after it pulled back a little bit, so it closed up 4.25% just about. And a very strong stock. Looks like a power trend is developing. I could definitely see this stock around $10 here in the next couple of weeks, if not months. Keep an eye on Sprint. Looks like it's picking up some momentum. You see here, taking a look at the volume. Volume is slowly starting to pick up there. Really haven't seen any big volume spikes like we had back here. But Sprint, another tech stock that's looking pretty interesting. QCOM. All right, we gave this to our guys yesterday to watch at 71 level on the gap down. It bounced off of 71 and traded up the whole day, and then had a nice little fall through today. Very strong stock, semiconductor stock. So you want to make sure you take a look at the other semiconductor names to see what they're doing. CRUS is not doing anything, but it is basing at this 18. Take off all the drawings here. It is basing at this 19 level. Keep an eye on CRUS. It was a strong stock. They do a lot of business with Apple. And if the stock continues to hold its bid at 19, you can most likely go long and put a stop underneath that to 19 or 18, 80, 75 area and try to take it to maybe some gap fill action right here. Let's see, Intel had a nice little pop up last week. Want to see what it's been doing since then. Garbage, nothing. A lot of people, I'm pretty sure, got stuck long in this name above 2450. Now they're in a losing position. Let's see, if this thing continues to move down, anybody that's still hoping that this thing's going to go back up, they're going to start feeling some pain. They're going to have to dump, and then some more sales may come in. So keep an eye on Intel. I definitely don't like the action, how it set up a lot of people right here to get long, and then it just dumped the stock right on them. So I would stay away from that right now. They have better names like QCOM. Let's take a look at KLAC. KLAC has been doing pretty well. KLAC looks like it wants to go back up towards 66.25 or so. Last support levels down here around 61.92. Top of the range 66.25. MU Micron Technology, another semiconductor stock that's been doing pretty well. Nice strong uptrend. It's going to trigger along over 20 and a half. Again, not many people will be in the markets tomorrow, so be careful buying some of these breakouts or shorting some of these breakdowns intraday, as you could get chopped up if you don't know how to enter the trade and exit the trade correctly or such things like that. Yahoo was up close to 1%. Decent chart. I like it. Again, Yahoo had this nice little up move, downward, sideways consolidation, like a little bull flag, then broke out. Should see another fall through action. 27 to 35. Talking about what, $8 there. $8 plus the 33 takes to 41. This thing have a target of 41, based on this measured move, this little flag channel here. 41 would be the target. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but definitely keep Yahoo on watch. I like the order flow, positive order flow that's coming into the stock. Looks pretty good. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and finish taking a look at some other indices here real quick. IWM up 83%. Again, we've been talking about the upward channel on IWM and on how you can use a 50% channel line as a gauge. Let me just zoom in here. You can see how we shook below that 50 right here. We've got back above the 50 right there, and now we're back above that 50-day. Now we're back above that 50 that 50% trend line I drew in between the channels, the median line of the big channel. And of course, the target on the IWM will be up here towards the top of that channel around 115, maybe 114.75. IWM making new all-time highs today. These small cap stocks are pretty strong. And the DIA, Dow Jones ETF here. Dow Jones DIA pretty much flat, didn't really do much. Did make a little flash to the highs, made new all-time high here a little bit, but then again, wide, not a tight range bar. If anything, a pause day. Not really much action in the Dow there. So let's see. Let's go ahead and talk about some more stocks here. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up was the DBC now, because these the dollar is getting weak, but commodities aren't really rallying. Take a look at the DBC. I showed this to you guys a while before on the Facebook company page, which is Wall Street Trading, and I also showed you guys in the chat room, mywallstreettv.com, or via Twitter, because I would like to post a lot of this information. DBC has a head and shoulders pattern on it here. All right, it broke the neckline, and now we're at the back test area. So we want to make sure we watch this pretty closely. I'm already seeing some weakness in some of the agriculture commodity stocks. At the same time, you see this gold is really not catching a bid. So DBC is going to be on the radar. If it could get back up at 25.60 and hold, we may see a rally back up to that right shoulder around 25.40. At the same time, this thing is looking weak. Definitely going to be watching the commodity space pretty closely here. And again, potash is looking like a weak stock if this commodity sector, the agriculture stocks get hit. Keep an eye on potash. Um, let's go ahead and finish going over some key things here, such as the gold chart, which got a nice little hammer yesterday, and had a little bit of fall through action today, but was not able to close on that highs. And now it's back in this 1240 area again. Keep it on the 1240. If it starts to hold below 1240, look for it to go back to yesterday's low where we had that big reversal, and maybe hit that low and maybe take out some stops for anybody looking to put on a swing trade versus that low. They definitely like to shake some people out before they give the real move here. So again, gold still looks vulnerable for some more downside action. Has not been able to break above this little downward trend line, and now it's creating like a little downward power channel. Again, if it starts holding back below this 1240 level, which it has been shaking up a lot around that area, I will look for gold to make lower. I think that gold's going down to 1200, then I have to gauge it from there, but we'll see. Again, got to watch it on a day-by-day basis. GDX gold miners, GDXJ gold mining juniors, those names were weak again today. Had a lot of guys or some people on Twitter, and even myself, I was looking at those names as being a little short-term bottom for some of the intraday reversal patterns they put in yesterday. Looked pretty good, but nope, wrong. They got smacked down today. That's why we're not trading them. We were focused on some other key names that had better action today. And the gold miners are still looking weak. I would stay away from them. GDXJ, the gold mining junior ETF, got smacked down again today here, down 2%. And on this ETF, there just doesn't look to be any support in sight, as it is making new all-time lows on the GDXJ. If you want to take a look at the GDX to kind of gauge where we can find some support, here, let me bring over my monthly screen and my weekly chart. My monthly chart, you can see that this ETF is coming into some support. Excuse me, sorry about that. This ETF is coming into some support around 21 right here, 2095. If we break below, if we break below 21, we start holding below that level, guys. You can expect this thing to maybe start trading back into some of these this wick action down here from 2008, which could take it all the way down to like say 1550. And again, we have a big down move on the monthly, little tight triangle pattern that forms this declining moving average. Then we have a breakdown by the trigger to short this month. We could maybe get some more fall through. 21 is going to be a key level to watch on the gold mines, the GDX. At the same time, it's still risky going short those names down here because they're down so much. But again, there could be some more potential into them. That's why you have to make sure you manage your risk accordingly. And maybe just, if you're looking for them to go down, pick the weakest gold miner out there. If you're looking for them to go up, pick the gold miner that's showing some relative strength compared to the sector and the other names. But GDXJ, it's going to take a look at crude oil. Via the crude oil futures, CL down 43 cents today, get down close to 0.5%. Again, chopping around this little support area that we have right here. That's, you can see it's trying to hold support down around this 94, 95, 93 area, but it cannot. You can see you have a nice little 2-week range, 2.5-week range between say 95.75 and 93 or 92.75. A little $2 range here in crude oil, below the declining moving averages, below the 200-day moving average. Crude oil looks vulnerable for another leg down, I would have to say, because it has not been able to catch a decent bid in this area. Last week it tried to catch a bid. Last week it tried to catch a bid down here around 94. but it bounced up into the declining 20 moving average and got smoked right back down. I would watch this 9160 area. We break below 9160, I would watch 90. But I would definitely be interested in buying crude oil if it does come back down here to 86. But then again, you would say, well, if you plan on it going down to 86, you may want to look for a short entry outside of the break of this range for a cash flow trade down. We'll see again. Still in a decent area though, because again, we had this little nice consolidation that took place at this bottom range down here around 9160, call it 92, that caused a big move up here. Again, a lot of this action right here, some of this action was pumped up due to that whole Syria action that was going on overseas, and yeah, that actually caused a nice little pop in that crude oil back there in July, what's that, early August? Sorry, no, early July, I mean, excuse me. So crude oil, some of you guys that watch, I know you guys look at the USO, which is the ETF that a lot of retail traders track to track crude oil. You can see that has been basing at 33.50. It breaks below 33.50. You want to watch that 33 level of support. We break below 33. You want to watch that 32.51 level. Then you want to watch, I would say, the 32 area. Those are some levels to watch for you guys out there. So let's go ahead and finish going through some stocks. Some stocks that we trade today in the chat room, KIRKs. Again, if you guys have been watching these videos, I talked about this stock because my old man actually has this stock and he was invested in it. He still is invested in the name from 865. And now that we've been tracking it on a day-to-day basis, well, I usually punch it up to kind of help him out. So this stock, biotechs are in play. This stock gapped up from good earnings report. Also had some positive news on its drug. Held a nice little bid down here around 12.25. Now it closed above this 13 level. This name looks like it could go up easily. Has this nice air pocket right here from 1350. You can see there was not much consolidation chop action right here. So it could have a fluid move up the same way it had a fluid move down. Keep an eye on KIRKs since biotechs are in play. What else? We traded some NUAN today. This stock had bad earnings. They missed the top line, beat the bottom line. They guided lower, hence the stock got smoked today. We actually call this trade for a short, which you can see in our midday market update video. We called it for a short around 1440. Gave it out on stock, Twitch, and Twitter. So make sure you follow us on those social media networks. Covered most of the stock down at 1390, and of course, what you know, the stock traded much lower. That's why you always want to make sure you leave something with a break-even stop to trail it, so you can at least try to get paid on it if it goes past your expectations where you expect it to stop at. Anyway, nuance looks like it could have some more fall-through action to the downside tomorrow. Let's see what else we're retrading today. Jazzo had a nice little intraday trade on this for a quick scalp, even though it was not able to hold that 15-day. Even though it was not able to hold that bull flag that it showed on the 15-minute chart. I'll show you guys what I'm referring to. Nice bull flag here on the 15. Broke out. We got long around 9.95. It traded all the way to a high of 10.15. We were expecting that gap fill action, and it kind of caught some resistance from the pre-market resistance. Let me go ahead and bring that up, which was around 10.10. Caught resistance right here at that pre-market resistance, and it got rejected right back down. That's where we got out. So we caught it for a scalp to that level, but we never able to never reverse a trade or anything. But either way, Jazzo sitting right on top of the 100-day simple and exponential moving average around 942. I would watch it if you're trading these solar names. As again, these names are in decent uptrends on the daily. All right, so I mean, we could have some more little downside action, but these are names that I'm pretty sure people may be looking to buy them on dips since they were strong, and a lot of people didn't believe in the sector, and these stocks have moved up tremendously. So keep an eye on them if they pull back a little bit. You got FSLR you could take a look at, down close to 1% today. This one's still holding pretty steady, pretty much trading in a range between 58 and 66 off this up move, so it still looks pretty decent. It may pull back a bit. You have SPWR, which has been a decent name as well. This one had a nice little bounce off the 28 level, which is actually a great level on it because its prior pivot broke out, support. And then you have SCTY, which just opened up 10 new offices in California. I believe that news came out on Monday. All right, it came out yesterday. They actually sold the news, but it still looks pretty good. Momentum, high beta stock, of course. Then you have CSIQ. You could take a look at, which did pretty well today. So again, these names are getting bought up on dips. Just keep an eye on them. HPQ had earnings after the bell today. I'm not really sure how they did. Let's take a look. HPQ shot up. Whoa, this stock's going to be in play tomorrow. HPQ trading 2670, hit a high 27. Take a look at the daily chart. So this stock is going to be opening up somewhere around this area right here where it has a gap at. Looks like resistance 2750 and 2775 or so. Let's see here. HPQ TiVo had earnings after the bell today. I'm not really a big fan of trading TiVo. Probably traded a couple times. 5-minute chart popped up, did nothing. Not really much to talk about there. But I definitely will watch. We definitely will be watching HPQ tomorrow. Some more names. Let's take a look at the energy space since these names got smacked down yesterday and they have been pretty strong. ExxonMobil looks like a good pickup in this 93 area off that 20-day rising moving average. I would keep an eye on ExxonMobil there. CVX, which was a sympathy play off the ExxonMobil strength, rallied up. Let's see what it has been doing. All right, so as long as it can hold above this 122 area, that will look pretty good. Resistance at 124. Little pocket right there. Rallied up, broke out. Again, we call this one as a long once it broke over this resistance, highlighting the fact that it could catch some strength thanks to ExxonMobil's strength. Let's see here. Banks. Let's go ahead and talk about the banks. JP Morgan. These banks showed a little bit of weakness today. Not a surprise. They have been pretty strong. All right. Definitely want to wait for them to pull back a bit. But JP Morgan pulled back today. Still holding its little short-term fast-moving averages here. You may want to try to buy it off the 56.50 off the 8-day moving average. Or better yet, wait for it to pull back some more. BAC, Bank of America, closed positive today by 7 cents. Still having a nice little fall through day. Pretty strong. Morgan Stanley has been another strong performer in that sector. At the top of the channel, which was our target that we gave out to you guys last week, we highlighted the fact that the banks were looking strong. Our target was 31.50. Target got hit. Goldman Sachs, another name that we've been highlighting to you guys to watch ever since it broke past the 50% channel. That, of course, they call me Channel Guy Trader because I find a lot of these channels. And you draw that 50% trend line above the 50 bullish, below the 50 bearish, above the 50 bullish, below the 50 bearish. Helps out a lot, folks. And that's what we try to find intraday on different stocks, ETFs, indices, whatever you like to look at, futures. We apply that 50% trend line and some other proprietary stuff that we do here as well. But Goldman Sachs still looks like it wants to go touch the top of the channel. It was almost there, hit a high of 170.81 or so, and top of the channel is right there at 172, hit a high of 170.83. Let's see here. So in general, there's some decent action across the board. Home builders were strong today. Retail stocks were strong today. You had Coach up a lot. Look at the Lennar. We've been talking about these home builders as well. Lennar up move, sideways consolidation, broke out today. Stock may try to make its run up towards 37.50. I like it. Toll Brothers. Again, Lennar is based in Miami too. That's a Miami-based company. Toll Brothers looks pretty good. Toll Brothers looks good because if it breaks over 35, it's going to be breaking above all this little choppy action that it had right here. And then its next target will be back up here towards 38. So you got about $3 worth of potential there. And your last pivot low from the big move is down here around 31.50 or so. Looks good. And then you could look at KBH, which is another key name that people look at. Traders will look at when they look at the home builder sector. KBH looks pretty decent. Looks like it's going to trigger a buy over 1830 or, of course, over today's high for fall through, but the real buy is going to trigger over. Well, some more momentum should pick up once it triggers over 1825. Is anybody that short this name from up here, they're going to get stopped out. Then if it triggers over 19, we definitely should pick up some momentum. Or you could always look at the XHB, the home builder ETF, and play that way. And that thing looks like it's breaking out. You have your little downward channel breakout, back test hold. As we know, anybody that's been in the chat room should know how to trade these little downward channel breaks or just a general break of a trend line. You would be surprised by if I were to tell you how many people don't know how to trade the break up a trend line or a level. Either way, back test, higher pivot low, holds the bid, rise back up, pulls back in, rise back up, pulls back in, and now it's looking like it wants to break out. Keep an eye on this 3250 level. Aside from that, have a great video, folks. Again, come check us out in the chat room. A lot of great analysis, a lot of great traders in the room. Have a great day, folks. Happy holidays. Adios. Cheers.